Two-time Player of the Year, Jason Belmonte has steadily established himself atop the list of the PBA's elite. In 2013, he claimed his first major title when he captured the Masters. Last year, he became only the third player in history to win back-to-back Masters. Legendary Pete Weber has designs of his own on the title as he looks to seize his first Masters title. Can the Aussie make history in three-peat? USBC Masters is next. The PBA Tour is live in Titletown, just down the road from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley plays host to the stepladder finals of the 65th United States Bowling Congress Masters. Our top five finalists, tournament leader A.J. Johnson, Jason Belmonte, Mike Devaney, Hall of Famer Pete Weber, and Martin Laursen are our top five field. And hello again, everyone. Mike Jackubowski with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson. Kimberly Pressler reports laneside today. 336 players to the starting gate in the Masters on Tuesday. The top five are competing for the very first major title on the 2015 PBA Tour. Randy, historical implications all over the place today. Not many things are missing from the Hall of Fame resume of Pete Weber.
You've been waiting to say frozen tundra all week, but you're right, Mike. Pete Weber's resume is, it's one of the best ever. And the only thing missing on that resume is a Masters title. You know, folks, I think the one thing that we have to come to realize is how much more time at age 52 does Pete Weber have? And I think that's why he said to us last night that if he were to win this, we would see a different side of Pete Weber. He would break down, get down on his knees, and start crying. And I think that's something we'd all like to see.
Weber's going to need to run the ladder. Out of the number 2 slot, Jason Belmonte looking to do what no one has ever done in the sport of bowling.
Looking to go back-to-back-to-back titles here at the Masters. Never been done in the 65-year history. But Jason Belmonte was a little distraught when he qualified in the number 2 position. But here's a stat for you. In the history of this event, the number 2 position has the highest winning percentage ever. Jason Belmonte, if he could get through that first match, he will have all the momentum, he'll have a perfect blueprint of what the lanes are giving him, and he'll have all the confidence going into the title match against a player who's making his first ever telecast. I think Jason Belmonte is in a perfect position.
Kimberly Pressler is laneside with the 2-time PBA Player of the Year.
Thanks, Mike. Jason, you find yourself in the final for the 3rd year in a row. What is it about the Masters and this format that you play so well on?
Well, it's just so unique. You know, it's not about how many pins you can knock over. It's just as long as you've got enough pins against your opponent once you make the match play. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be how pretty. It's usually how many. And yeah, I'm excited to be on the TV show again. Well,
we just heard Randy say that you're in the number 2 seed, and that's actually a positive thing, at least from his point of view. What is your point of view on that?
Look, I've won this tournament from the top seed and from the 5th seed. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, as long as I can get to the show, I always have an opportunity to win. So if you had told me at the beginning of the week, Kimberly, I was going to be in the number 2 spot, I would have taken it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck to you today. Guys, back to you in the booth.
Stepladder bracket includes our opening match. Hall of Famer Pete Weber against Sweeten's Martin Laursen. The winner gets Mike Devaney. Belmonte waits in the semifinal, and then amateur A.J. Johnson will bowl for the title today against the survivor of the stepladder.
And the format, as Mike J. talked about in the Open, 336 bowlers started, 15 games of qualifying, top 64 advanced. Double elimination match play, or as I like to call it, if you get to the loser's bracket, you're in bowling purgatory. Pete Weber bowled more games than any other player this week, 39 for Pete, 18 yesterday.
It's tough to get out of the land of perpetual bowling, but our top 5 are here. And Martin Laursen opening shot at the Masters. High flush hit for Laursen and an opening strike.
And you probably saw that bowling ball go pretty straight down the lane. It's not because there's that much oil. It's because Martin Laursen's throwing a regular urethane bowling ball.
Now opening shot for Pete Weber, tied for third on the all-time list with Norm Duke with 37 lifetime PBA Tour titles. Tied with the great Earl Anthony with 10 majors. Opening shot. Strike apiece.
Weber also had the highest average overall of our 5 players today. In fact, in the first round of qualifying, Pete Weber averaged 261 at age 52. He's just a freak of nature.
Weber, the overall qualifying leader after 15 games, 238.27 here at the Masters. And here's his run through the field, defeating Christopher Sand, who got into the field on a roll-off. Ildemaro Ruiz, Francois Lavoie, John Zerbinski, Barrett, Roberts, and Anderson, all facing Weber. The 4th seed.
Oh, how about that one?
Well, he didn't like it off of his hand.
Might have been a little wide.
And you heard him just say that, but when you have such a good hand and a great touch at the bottom of the swing, as Pete Weber does, well, good things tend to happen. He thinks this is wide of target. It is wide of target. You can see by the body language, but enough on it to get it back into that swish zone.
Laursen speaking to us yesterday, Randy, saying, I've played everywhere from the gutter to the 6th arrow. Urethane is my strongest piece of equipment. I've run the spectrum in this tournament.
Yeah, and right now that urethane ball going straight up in between 1st and 2nd arrow looks pretty good. Take a look at his arsenal. Well, there you see the hook potential going with the pitch black. The straightest piece of equipment in his bag by far.
Laursen, owner of 6 European Bowling Tour titles, with a win today would qualify for next week's Tournament of Champions. 3rd frame. High flush hit for Laursen, opening turkey.
Got it a little bit right, got some more hand in it, and the ball just kind of checked early and then walked right to the 1-3. I don't know, Weber looked a little perturbed by that last strike by Martin Laursen and the way he ran it out. Let's see what kind of react we get here if Pete strikes to tie the match up.
All strikes, Weber up in the 3rd, opening match at the Masters. Three apiece.
No react. You know, we talked about it before. We saw, how many can forget possibly the greatest telecast in the history of professional bowling? I know it's my greatest telecast that I ever covered, which was the U.S. Open. So we take a look at Pete's arsenal using an Optimus, and you can see how much stronger his piece of equipment of choice is. But the one thing that we've learned over the years, you don't want to rile Pete up on television.
Do not disturb. 4th frame.
Come on now, Hook. That is right
here. Hambone. Interesting choice of words right as the guy holds up your favorite sign. Look at this form here. Just efficiency of motion is what I like to call Pete Weber's game, and a great result there. And of course the beautiful react by Pete Weber.
For Laursen, it's been a grinding roller coaster in an event, and he hasn't felt his bolt that great. Bucket crumbling, but not the 2-pin.
See, and there's the only issue with using the urethane. If you miss it just a hair at the bottom, it's not going to have enough of an engine, enough cover stock to grab the lane and hook into the pocket. You've got to be real precise with that in your miss. If you're going to miss target, has to be left and not right.
Spare for Martin Laursen. "15 games of qualifying and then seeded into the match play. 5-1 in match play, defeating Kyle Troop. Yes, that is the son of Guppy Troop, Eugene McCune, and Dan McClellan, then losing to the tournament leader, A.J. Johnson, to go to the loser's bracket, and then beating Angelo and Chad Nelson, and then finishing third to earn the number 5 seed in that last eliminator match.
You know, Mike, I think it says a lot about Martin's character. It was a tough loss for him a month or so ago when he lost the Scorpion Championship. And, you know, he was in position to win that. He needed a double in the 10th. He got the first hit, and then Greek Church second ball in the 10th. As we take a look one more time, and again, you have to miss left of target, not right. He did that. That ball was on line. But I think it says a lot about his character. You know, he suffered a real tough defeat, but guess what? He picked himself up, dusted himself off, and he's back.
Looking for the hook. That's a bucket crumbler, just leaving the 8.
That's a huge break, not leaving the 2 and the 10 with it. You heard Petey asking the ball to hook, and it did just enough to trip out the 2-8-10, just leaving the 8 pin.
Single pin spare for Weber. Corrals it, and Pete's got a 10-pin lead halfway in our opening match. Mike Devaney is next on the stepladder.
The soil pattern 39 feet in length, and the ratio was just about 2 to 1. It's pretty flat, but you take a look at the number of 300 games here. We had 6. Keep something in mind, we had almost 6,000 games bowled. I really like the job that USBC did with this pattern. It allowed the players to play all over the lane.
6th frame. Weber in the pocket. Opening match at Ashwaubenon and Bowling Lanes. Pete Weber in search of his very first Masters title with the new move. And when we return to Ashwaubenon and Bowling Alley, Weber tries to ascend the ladder. Martin Laursen in search of his first title. More when we return on ESPN. The USBC Masters is brought to you by Geico. Saving people money on more than just car insurance. By Storm, bowlers serving bowlers. Storm is the bowlers company. By AMF, roll this way. And by Brunswick, find your next ball at bowlwithbrunswick.com. Vince Lombardi still reigns super. A great Lombardi quote, Randy, the greatest accomplishment is not falling, but in rising again after you fall.
I know that only so well when I took a header this morning on the ice.
Short commute across from the parking lot to Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. And qualifying took place right here, 15 games for the field. Winners Bracket Championship match to determine the top 2 seeds.
A.J. Johnson taking on the defending champion, Jason Belmonte. A.J. decided to go much straighter, and it was a great strategy as the lanes proved to be pretty tough trying to open them up. Belmonte needed a strike or 9 spare strike to capture the number 1 seed. He gets 7. There's your qualifying leader.
Final 3 seeds coming in a 4-for-3 elimination match.
Devaney just kind of cruised through this 4-player roll-off. Pete Weber, on the other hand, well, he made it real exciting. Martin Laursen, very steady, playing that extreme deep inside angle, looking to rebound after a tough loss in the Scorpion Championship, but this was heartbreaking.
Francois Lavoie, 7-10 in the 10th, the odd man out. Qualifying and match play highlights courtesy of Extra Frame, the online bowling channel. 5 straight live days of action. More coming next week from Indy at the Tournament of Champions. Opening match rolls on. Pete Weber with a strike up. Martin Laursen, also a strike up, can even things up here in the 6th.
Nice shot there. That time the ball actually read Remember the last time on that lane he went light, and this time he got a mitt full when he let go of it. See that hand open, and then it gets back underneath it at the bottom of the swing. Great rotation, great roll there, and a nice result.
Randy Martin saying sometimes bowling is not logical, but I try to see the lane logically.
Yeah, he just tries to keep a nice clear picture in terms of what the oil pattern is giving him and what it's dictating to him, and that's how he decides to play the lanes and what equipment to use.
Finished 11th in the 09 World Championship. Light hit, another bucket combination, this time double wood.
And that was a very similar look to what he did in the fourth frame when he left the 2-pin on the right lane. Again, the ball laboring because he either gets it wide of target or misses it at the bottom. And he knew it as soon as he let go of it. Not a whole lot of margin for error on this spare conversion with a urethane bowling ball.
Good cover for Martin Laursen, looking for his first PBA title, and a major at that.
Pete stepping up here in the 7th frame, working on a strike and increased the lead to 12. Remember the last time on the right lane for Weber, he too went light. And see what kind of adjustment Pete makes. You know, the one thing that we've noticed with Pete in the past is he has a tendency at times to get soft with his speed. When you have that much axis rotation and you get too soft, the ball breaks loose and it could be a disastrous split.
Weber strike working. And a reset.
Something distracted him. It wasn't me, I wasn't talking.
Six around the 10.
Really? Oh, good shot.
God, that was a good shot. That was a really good shot.
He really wanted it to. You could tell by his body language again. And Pete wears his emotions on his sleeves, and I think that's why we all love to watch him. But a really good shot, and the 6 goes right around the 10.
Pete covers a spare. Weber +2 heading into the 8th, 9th, and 10th frames.
Boy,
Pete
that's
bowling
one
a
of the
total
best shots I've thrown.
of 39 games in this event, 15 during the 3 days of qualifying, 6 Friday in match play, Randy, and 18 yesterday to advance to the number 4 seed.
And did we mention he's 52 years old?
Trying to run the ladder and win his very first Masters. This title also escaped the clutches of his father, the great Dick Weber, 8th frame. Not a 10 of the flat variety.
Ball's just laboring just enough when it gets down to the break point. Pete looking for that ball to break a little bit sharper into the pocket. And again, his speed is very critical. A little firm, and it finishes behind the head pin and leaves that 10 pin. I think the one thing that we always fail to talk about, too, is Pete Weber's one of the best spare shooters on tour.
Two pretty good shots.
Well, Martin Laursen now has an opening. He can actually strike out and shut out Pete. Take it off the sheet right now for 257. Pete Weber's maxed out at 248, so it's in the hands of Martin Laursen now.
8th frame. 7-10 split.
Well, we saw it in the 4-player shootout last night from Francois. Here it is, the same kind of hit from the same part of the lane, and that is, in my opinion, the worst break in bowling. And I say that for a number of reasons. One, it's a good shot, it hits the pocket, but 2, you're left with an open frame. I mean, I've made the 7-10 split only 7 times in my life, so, and it's only been converted 3 times on television. And it couldn't have come at a worse time for Martin Laursen.
Foundation frame. Laursen trails by 14. He can still shoot .234.
But he can't shut out Pete now.
Flush hit for Laursen. The magic number for Pete is now .235.
Sorry, Mike. This Martin Laursen's a good player, and he's working on becoming a great player. And part of becoming a great player in the maturation process is overcoming adversity and beating Hall of Famers. And he's got one standing in front of him right here.
Weber trying to advance along the stepladder. Mike Devaney is next. Weber plus 14, foundation frame. Another 10-pin.
Looks like the oil's pushed down the lane just far enough to make Pete Weber's bowling ball a little soft into the pocket. Last 3 shots have been really good, especially on this right lane. And all Pete Weber has to show for it is 3 10-pins in a row.
Uh-oh.
He got it. Spare for Weber.
If Pete were to get by this match, I could almost guarantee you a ball change to start the second match.
Re-rack, please.
He'll definitely throw one on his fill shot in the 10th frame, but he needs 2 strikes and 8 pins to shut out Martin Laursen. May not have an opportunity to test a new ball in this game, but you might see it the next game.
Fresh set of pins for Weber. His first title came back in 1982. His last title was the Tournament of Champions in 2013. Weber with a fresh set of pins. 10th frame, 235 is the magic number to advance. Light hit, carries it.
Well, he figured out how to strike, and that's to just go a little bit lighter and got the ball into the swish zone. And of course, when you have this much rotation, you're going to create some good pin carry when you go light, and it's exactly what happened right there.
Striking 8 pins will shut out Martin Laursen, and Weber would advance 10th frame. Saw quite a bit of that yesterday during match play as Pete closed out match after match.
Well, he really wrapped his wrist around this one at the bottom of the swing, and he made that ball turn the corner, and it went high flush. He needs 8 pins, and he will move on.
Come on. Yeah, that's right, baby!
There is your dagger. 237 for Weber to advance to face Mike Devaney. Wayne Larrabee calls Packer games here in town with that call quite a bit. Another good, strong tournament for Martin Laursen. This man will win on the PBA Tour.
Well, there's no question in my mind. He's won all over the world, just not here.
Pete Weber advances along the stepladder and will return in our next match at the Masters. The first major title of the 2015 PBA Tour season rolls on in Wisconsin. The Columbia 300 fun fact: since its inception in 1951, this is the first time the USBC Masters has been contested in Green Bay, and the 7th time the event has been held in the state of Wisconsin. the Badger State, the Dairy State, my home state.
Well, it's a great bowling state, and it's they're great bowling fans here. And looks like Pete Weber's staying with the same bowling ball he used in the last game.
Strike, solid hit for Weber. Mike Devaney out of Winchester, California, 2 career PBA Tour titles, looking for his first major. Last title coming back in 2009 at the Scorpion Championship in Allen Park, Michigan. 42 years old, opening shot. Strike for Devaney.
Mike, real solid throughout this tournament, and it's good to see him back under the bright lights. I know that he suffered through some injuries, and I know you've got a little bit more info on that, Mike, but Devaney has always been regarded as a good player, and it's just good to see him back out here. You can take a look at the match play record, and unfortunately lost to Jason Belmonte in that match, 602 to 594, because of a nosediver. A nosediver that Belmonte threw in the last ball of that match to beat him. But you know what, Devaney, he really kept a good attitude about it and said, okay, hey, I'm still in this tournament. Got down to the loser's bracket, fought his way back. Here he is today.
Mike says experience in the majors is the thing. Must be patient and manage the physical grind. And to get through a tough match like that, because I saw that 10th frame, and that is something that happens in these 3-game total pins matches.
Right. You know, it's never easy to win out here, and you know, the task at hand right now is trying to beat arguably one of the greatest players that's ever thrown a bowling ball, and then he takes on the reigning player of the year, who's won this event back-to-back times. I mean, it's a tough road.
Ball came back, drops the rack, and a double. Kimberly Pressler is laneside.
Thanks, guys. So, Martin, what went through your mind when you had that pocket 7-10 split in the 8th?
Well, of course, you don't want to leave stuff like that, and it's basically the hit I'm away from beating the world's greatest bowler, so yeah, I don't like it.
Well, not everyone chooses to use a urethane ball on a medium pattern like this, but you chose to do that. Would you still do it again if you had the chance?
Yeah, like I said, one hit away from beating one of the best. I think I would take my chances again and hope I don't leave the 7-10, and then it's basically mine.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and we're sorry that because of this loss you don't get to go to the TOC maybe next year.
Well, I'll have to try to get another year.
Thank you so much, guys. Back to you.
Turkey for Weber of the mixing variety.
Yeah, not the prettiest, a little messy, but it's still 3 in a row. A lot of times it's not how, it's how many, and right now Weber's perfect through 3 frames.
Devaney said he's feeling good, Randy. No pain, and fluidity and footwork, the basis of his game. Ball comes up high. That's a 6-pin.
Yeah, he looked down immediately at the approach. It looked like he stuck. And then normally when that happens, the players grab it at the bottom of the swing, and that's what it looked like Mike did there. And you can see the ball checked right in the middle of the lane and almost went Brooklyn. That is the widest bowling ball I've ever seen in my life. Boy, does that stand out.
That is.
You're not going to get that spare ball confused when it's on the rack.
It's a pretty piece of quartz. Devaney, Randy saying footwork, an important part of his game, and you wouldn't necessarily ascribe fluidity to Devaney, but it's there.
Well, I think it's a great tool to have for all players. You want to have your legs underneath you and use them for leverage, and you know it's as important for Mike Devaney as it is for you and I.
4th frame, mixing and flat 10-pin.
See, and here's the problem that players have on television. They're coming in cold, so to speak, even though they get a couple of practice balls before the start of this match.
he doesn't have the blueprint that Weber has. Weber knows exactly what the lanes are doing. So here's Mike Devaney throwing good shots, and he's leaving these half tens on the left lane. You know, you don't have the luxury of several games to figure it out. You got to figure it out in the 6 practice balls that you get prior to the start of this match.
Pete Weber perfect from the first. He's up 22 pins, trying to ascend the step ladder. He's never won the Masters. It would be considered what they call a super slam.
The only other player to ever do that in PBA history is Mike Albee, and that would consist of the U.S. Open, Tournament of Champions, the National Championship, or now what is termed the World Championship, and the Touring Players Championship. Along with the Masters, it's the Super Slam.
Long way to go. He's got to get to the semifinals first, but he's got the front 3 here, 4th frame. A rare off-balance shot from Weber, and that is a bucket combination.
Slipped.
Wow.
Take a look at this right there. You can see his heel just kind of gets out from underneath him. Weber lucky to only leave the 2-4-8.
Pete coming up a little gimpy there again.
Problem here.
Hammer, tough spare replay, and sticking the landing is so paramount to making spares.
Well, he stuck the landing, or I mean, he dead stuck. Last time, or the first shot, he slipped. That time he sticks. Devaney stuck on that lane. You know, one of the things that I've always noticed about Weber is that he's rarely had slide issues. I used to have tons of issues with sliding the correct amount. Weber never has that problem.
Flush hit, splitting the 8 and 9. Weber striking the 5th.
Looks back at that approach on the right lane. Probably had some choice words under his breath for that last shot on the right lane. And yeah, there you go. Slipped and then he stuck.
Here's a look at the arsenal for Mike Devaney. He's got the Venom Shock, Randy. It's not the strongest ball in his bag. The hook rating indicates potential hook on a scale of 10. And a roller? No, 10 pin.
So 3 identical 10 pins on both lanes now for Mike Devaney. And so the question he's asked himself is, what's the adjustment? And I think if it were me, I would just get a little bit softer and see if I could get the ball to turn the corner with slowing down my ball speed.
Spare for Devaney out of the qualifiers, Randy. He had the lowest overall average at 216.39, a function of the match play portion of this event.
You know, that's the beauty of this tournament, is catching the right guys at the right time, having a second chance if you were to lose your first match. And Mike Devaney did what he had to do and win, and you know, it's all about winning matches.
The disparity, interesting. Devaney 216.3 over 33 games. Weber 15 pins better per game.
And he bowled more games. Weber did.
6th frame for Devaney. Pocket smash and a strike on the board.
Well, Pete Weber has a 20-pin lead halfway through our match number 2. When we come back, I'll tell you why Pete Weber almost didn't bowl this tournament. That's right. We may not have been watching this.
USBC Masters rolls on south of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Our second match, Pete Weber and Mike Devaney in progress. Chad Murphy, USBC Executive Director, down at the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas. Big Monday, presented by Verizon. At 7, Jaleel Okafor and the number 4 Blue Devils travel to Tallahassee to take on their nemesis, the Noles, and a Big 12 battle between the Cyclones and the Sooners. Number 4 Duke versus Florida State at 7. Then number 11 Iowa State and 21st ranked Oklahoma at 9, Monday on ESPN. The home court of college hoops. And a sad day across college basketball with the passing of Dean Smith. Our condolences as we roll on here at the Masters. Weber, strike working, chance to extend his lead, 6th frame. Mixing 10-pin.
So you want to know why Pete almost didn't bowl this tournament?
Yes.
So I got a copy of a text from a friend from wife Tracy to Pete. Pete was very unhappy with his performance last week in Milwaukee. Stand by. And so he basically sent a text to wife Tracy saying, you know what? I'm bowling so bad, I'm just going to withdraw. I'm not going to bowl the Masters. And the next text that I read from wife Tracy was, pull your head out of your butt and go bowl the Masters.
I love the interplay between and the amount of inspiration that Tracy can provide. Pete Weber up 20, 7th frame, trying to advance along the stepladder. Jason Belmonte is waiting in the semifinal. 7th frame. Gets up nosy, and it's a split, 3-4, 7-10.
As soon as I let it go. As soon as I let it go, I knew it.
Well, he got it inside a target, and there's just not enough buildup in the middle part of the lane to hold it off. And you can see it's left and not pushing right. And, well, Pete pays for it this time.
Makeable, though, for Weber.
And he got it. Cleaned it up.
That's why I am PDW right there. Right.
He's one of the best ever at the 3-6-10 combinations, whether it's the 3-6-7-10, 3-4-6-7-10, or the 3-4-7-10 right here. He is one of the best I've ever seen at making stuff like this.
And that is your Barbasol close shave of the day. And Pete Weber fills the frame. Devaney up in the 7th, trying to double, and he leaves a split. It's a 2-10.
Well, hard to see from our vantage point, but it looked like Mike tried to go a little straighter, moved right, and tried to go a little bit straighter with a little more ball speed. And ball never picked up and leaves a 2-10. Let's see if Mike can slide the 2 over into the 10-pin.
And back-to-back split conversions. Major bowling at its best.
I can't believe Mike didn't say something like, and that's why I'm Mike D. Devaney. He's such a funny guy. He could have come right back at Weber with something. What a great shot.
Mike says, hey, this is where I want to be. I've been doing this a while, and nerves are normal. The experience factor is managing those nerves, and that comes with experience. A couple 4th place finishes in prior majors, and that's high. Avoids the split, just the 3 and the 6.
Tough oil pattern, pretty flat. That ratio at just under 2-1. And there's not a lot of forgiveness out there. I think that's why Martin Laursen went with the urethane ball, trying to go as straight as he could. The players would kind of stay in the same zone. The tendency is to break that part of the lane down. So if they're all playing in, you would think that at some point the lanes would get a little bit better from the inside part of the lane. It hasn't happened yet.
Both players clean. Weber the advantage on the opening turkey, and Devaney trails by 18. Weber now up 8th frame.
Let's not leave the 10-pin again.
How does he not leave the 10-pin again?
Oh, he's just got to hit a little bit more flush. He's either got to go light or he's got to go flush. Anything in between is going to be a half 10.
Light hit, roller.
No. That's the spot that we were just talking about. It's got to be a little right of that or a little left of that. You can see just how sensitive the lanes are. I mean, this is a good shot that Pete throws here, and it's just not enough bowling ball through the 1-3 to get that 10 out. But at least it looks like, for the time being anyway, that the approach problems are taken care of, and that happened during the break. Pete Weber with a 17-pin lead, working on a spare, getting up here in the 9th frame. Mike Devaney is maxed out at 215. Pete's at 212 right now, but he can strike out for 232.
Foundation frame, Weber trying to advance in the Masters.
High flush strike. Well, you can see it too at the bottom of the swing. He gets a little bit shorter with his release, or excuse me, with his follow through, and just wraps his hand underneath the bowling ball to make it turn the corner.
So Devaney up quickly, doesn't waste a lot of time. 9th frame, can max out at 215. He'll finish first. Oh, stone 7, and we saw that hit here all week.
That's just unlucky. Good shot. He needed it. He knew he needed it to have much of a chance, really, because now if he spares here and strikes out, he's only in the 2-0s, and Weber would just need any kind of mark, and that's just a bad break.
.204 max for Devaney. Slaps the 10 out that time.
1, 2, 3 10-pins early on. Makes the great split conversion in the 7th, sliding the 2 over into the 10, and the last 2 shots were perfect, but he only has 1 strike to show for it. He was never able to string any strikes together, and quite honestly, the strike count fairly lean for both players. We have a total of 8 strikes for both players through almost 10 frames, and Mike Devaney,
yeah, he'll get a re-rack here. Devaney fills it up. He forces Weber to mark in the 10th.
Correct. Takes that re-rack, buying some time. Pete Weber, 52 years of age. He knows the longer he can make Pete sit in that stool, or sit in that chair rather, the tighter his body's going to get.
Double in the 10th for Devaney.
You know, for the folks at home that don't know how to keep score, what makes the shot in the 9th frame so crucial is that if Devaney carries that hit, he forces Pete to get the first strike in the 10th frame. Now it's just a mark.
Count important here as well. Mike surveys the scoreboard. Fill ball.
Weber needs a mark. Any mark will win. And a good finish by Mike Devaney.
10th frame for Weber in search of his first Masters title. Needs a mark to advance to face Jason Belmonte. 10 pin.
He's got to make it.
I don't know if I can throw it any better.
You know, what's the adjustment? You know, a lot of people are thinking, well, if you can't throw it any better and you're leaving 10 pins, what do you change? And there's only one thing it can be. It's got to be the bowling ball. The ball's not going through the pins the right way, and that's why Weber's leaving the 10 pins.
Pete Weber advances to face Jason Belmonte. Belmonte said it last night. Just a couple sticks to advance, and Belmonte said it last night. Pete Weber will make this television show. Pete Weber will make the semifinal match. I will bowl Pete Weber, and I will beat Pete Weber. That match is coming after 3 sticks are hit here.
And when we come back for that next match, I'll tell you Weber's response to that.
Thanks. Thank you.
Jason Belmonte, you got your wish. Bowling fans, you're getting your wish. Weber, Belmonte, semifinal next at the Masters. The USBC Masters is brought to you by Barbasol. Life is full of close shaves. Make sure your close shave is a Barbasol close shave. By Motive Bowling, get motivated. By HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. And by Track Bowling, make the smart move. No trip to Green Bay complete without a visit to Lambeau Field and the pass through the Packer Pro Shop and the gift shop. Bobbleheads, fatheads. Is there a Randy Peterson bobblehead out there?
There isn't, but rumor has it you have a Randy Peterson fathead on your wall.
That's very true. I like to be lilted off to sleep at night.
It's disturbing, Mike.
Here's your stepladder. Weber advancing along. And now he gets Belmonte in the title match. Amateur A.J. Johnson will get the survivor of Belmonte and Pete Weber. And just a couple of weeks ago, the bowling world, Randy, lost Chuck Pisano, bowling's official historian and one of the all-time great bowling writers.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing that I'll always remember about Chuck was he was always the keynote speaker at the Hall of Fame inductions back in the day at the Tangiers in Akron, and just cutting up and at the expense of Marshall Holman and Pete Weber. But he was always so elegant, so articulate, and he was just a great guy. And it was very sad learning of Chuck's passing.
A great loss for the bowling community, a titan, Chuck Pisano, a member of the PBA and USBC Halls of Fame and the sport's official historian. And his writing career spanned more than 60 years. And he would have loved today with his friends John Jowdy and Dick Evans calling an epic battle in the semifinal match.
Yeah, those three are up right now having some coffee, watching down, and looking at this tournament. And this is really epitomizes what those three really enjoyed about our sport.
And they would have loved to have seen this match coming up next. It's a semifinal. Pete Weber and the historical implications. Jason Belmonte's got his own history on his mind. A.J. Johnson stands in between. That semifinal match is coming up next live at the Masters. Welcome back to the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley near Green Bay, Wisconsin. Bowling fans, here's your chance to vote for your favorite all-time televised moment in the history of the PBA Tournament of Champions. Head to PBA.com and click on the TOC poll and cast your vote. The top 3 vote getters will be counted down during next week's live Tournament of Champions from Indianapolis at Woodland Bowl next Sunday on ESPN. Jason Belmonte, the number 2 seed, 2-time defending champion here at the Masters.
Nice break there against DJ Tackett. He needs just a couple of pins on his bill shot, throws it down the middle. Tournament of Champions. Well, he pulled a great game, and Wes Malott had him, let him off the hook.
Belmo goes back-to-back in the majors to earn his back-to-back Geico Chris Schenkel PBA Player of the Year award. Marshall Kent winning the Harry Golden PBA Rookie of the Year honors. Brett Spangler, the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award. Missy Parkin winning the Tony Reyes Community Service Award, our award winners for last season. And there's your 2-time PBA Player of the Year.
Well, they got the Steve Nagy award right. That Brett Spangler is a really nice kid. I like him.
On and off the lanes, Spangler, one of the favorites out here on tour. Weber made it to the semifinal. He's on a mission. Opening shot, higher seed Belmonte forces Weber to begin. And a 4-pin.
And it's interesting because during the break, Weber's allowed to practice on the alternate lane right next to the TV pair. And before both of his matches, he was actually staying warm, throwing a urethane ball. I'm thinking, I wonder if Pete's going to make the switch to that. Nope, stays with what he's been using.
Weber covers up the single pin, still having some footing issues.
Well, there's no more power outage left on the show with Jason Belmonte and A.J. Johnson left.
The 2-time defending Masters champion looking for a third. No one has ever done that. Opening shot. And a matching 4-pin for Belmonte. Winning 3 in a row in majors, Jason Couch accomplished that, Randy, in the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, and you know, I have to announce, unfortunately, that Jason Couch's mother, Darlene, passed away just a couple of nights ago, and I know there's a lot of heavy hearts out there right now, including my own, and I know everybody here, Jason's family out here, we all want to pass along our deepest condolences to Jason, his dad Cliff, and the rest of the Couch family.
And I will add my thoughts as well. And now let's head down to Laneside with Kimberly.
Thanks, guys. Mike, why do you think it was that you weren't able to double until the 10th?
Transition. You know, bowling only a 1-game match and only getting limited shots of practice, the lanes are going to transition quite rapidly as opposed to as they do in the qualifying or the match play. And you know, going from the practice and waiting a game and then coming in and getting a few shots, you have to make your decisions on the fly. And I just didn't make my decision with enough confidence to put the strikes together until towards the end of the game.
Well, how are these lanes transitioning?
Well, rapidly. With the lights and the heat, it's really warm on the set. They transition considerably faster than they did during the week. So, you know, like I said, you got to make your decisions on the fly and do it with confidence. And I just didn't do it with confidence in the beginning of the game until the end, and I gave Pete too much, you know, leeway to run him down.
Thank you so much for your time. Guys, back to you in the booth.
Belmonte crossing over for a strike.
And you can see just how much deeper Belmonte's playing than Weber. And Pete, probably a good 15 boards right of Belmonte. And Belmonte, you know, he said it, told us last night he was going to go to his A game, he was going to move way in. And got him this time.
Really?
The approach got him this time. Look at that, just dead
Out of
stuck.
nowhere you stick, right?
One time he slips, one time he sticks, and it's all seems to be just on that right lane. It's got to be the heat from the lighting and the humidity in the building. And players have not had to deal with that throughout the entire week.
Come on. Really?
I think now Pete's trailing for the first time in any match
No problems, and
today.
then all of a sudden just out of nowhere stick.
Career majors leaders on the PBA Tour, the great Earl Anthony with 10, tied with Weber. Mike Albee with 8, including 3 of these Masters. Walter Ray Williams Jr. 8 majors and 2 of these Masters. Weber now trailing for the first time today, 3rd frame.
It looks like he's using the same bowling ball, but he's got a couple out there that have different drillings. He's going with a pin up on one lane and a pin down on the other.
Belmonte called his shot. He said Weber would get here and I will beat him. And he has not done so yet. Here's Belmonte, the number 2 seed, and his roll through match play, defeating Chris Kelso, Major Mika Kovuniemi, Hall of Famer Tom Baker, Anthony Lavery-Spar, and then he lost in the winner's bracket championship match to A.J. Johnson. Mixing strike. Takes advantage of that crossover.
...2013 title match in the Tournament of Champions when the big heavy hand guys were lofting the left gutter cap. Weber was using that great hand in rotation, and boy, he really took care of Belmonte in that matchup.
Weber says, hey, if that's what Belmonte wants to think, I'm 2-0 in TV against him. He hasn't anything to say until he beats me. And there's a look at the record. Career in TV finals between Pete Weber and Jason Belmonte. Belmonte on the double 4th frame. Powerful hit.
And there's the big difference with the power of Jason Belmonte. And we saw Weber leave a lot of 10 pins last game. And when Belmonte's bowling ball hits the pins, there's usually nothing left standing.
Important shot for Weber back on the lane. He left the 2-8-10 on 4th frame. Needs a double. And Messenger gets the 10. And out come the guns.
2 tickets to the gun show. That was a big hit because if he doesn't strike on that ball, he fails to double. Belmonte's working on a 3-bagger. Watch the action of the head pin coming across, and the nose of the head pin takes out the 10, and then Weber just gives it the business. Probably heard us talking about Belmonte's power. He says, hey, Belmonte, I got your power right here. Now he's looking to throw another strike here and cut this deficit to 14.
Between 3rd and 4th arrow, and a mixing strike explodes the 4-pin out of that rack.
Well, that's almost been his best shot in terms of carry.
I don't want his towel on the ball return. I don't want the stuff off his towel on my ball.
There's that mixer again. It's been his best, most reliable hit today.
That's the all business Weber. Now Belmonte. His half of the beer frame, and he crosses over and gets another crossover strike.
What I'm going to lose to is Brooklyn's.
Well, you heard Pete say it himself. Belmonte's got a 4-bagger, 2 of those Brooklyns on either end. Watch this. You know, you never want to see it when it happens to you. You never want to do it when you're bowling against your opponent. Unfortunately, sometimes it's part of the game. How's that stat? He's made 9 out of 11 finals in majors.
Hurry.
Just 2-pin. That could have been 2-8-10 territory.
Jason's in a tough spot because if he gets the ball too far to the right, he's going to go light. If he gets it left, there's no chance of that ball holding its line. Pete broke his glasses. Not sure if he's got a backup pair or not. Snapping the lens back in.
Pete also apparently irritated with the placement of Belmonte's equipment on the ball rack.
He said he didn't want his towel touching his bowling ball. We've got some action going here in match number 3. When we come back, I'm going to tell you why Jason hasn't used a razor forever. Oh, and there's going to be a Pete Weber, Jason Belmonte bowling ball comparison.
Today at 3:55, the United States men's national soccer team takes the pitch against Panama in an international friendly. The game is also live on Watch ESPN. Back half of our semifinal match at a Schwaben bowling alley. Mike Jackubowski with Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler.
Mike, would you call this match an international friendly?
I would call this an international approaching unfriendly. It's a heck of a rivalry. Both of these guys have history.
Can't get it.
And the 10-pin doesn't fall. There's so much on the line. This has eluded the Weber family for years. Belmonte's trying to do what no one has done before. Belmo came in saying, I want this man. And what was Pete's response?
He said he's not afraid of these young guys. Look out.
Skinnies it. Knocks it down, spare in the box for Weber. And again, a footing issue.
Well, he's got a striking issue as well, especially on the right lane. And unfortunately for Pete Weber, he's going to have to finish on that lane. And, you know, we talked about the bowling ball that he's using. He's been going back and forth from a pin up to a pin down. He goes to the pin up, and he was telling his ball reps during the commercial break it's the only one that he feels comfortable he can hit the pocket with.
Overhooks, 3-6-10.
Left lane is broken down. It looks like it's going to start hooking now. The right lane looks like somebody poured a gob of oil right in front of the head pin because the shot on the right lane looked really good, and it got to that spot right there and just kept accelerating straight. That one actually grabs the lane and hooks.
Weber cleans up the spare. A trio of things irritating him today. The lane approach, Belmonte equipment, and Belmonte with two well-placed crossover hits.
And here is Jason Belmonte's arsenal using an unhinged.
That's high. 3-6-9-10, a particularly tough spare in this bowling center.
Yeah, because of that back pin. Remember, we talked about right before we went to break, I gave you a little something about a razor with Jason Belmonte. He said, you know what? I haven't used a razor on my face in over 6 years. I was just thinking, man, I wish I could get away with that. 3-6-9-10, tough spare. He's going to get that bowling ball to the right side of the 3-pin. The ball will drive the 6 into the 10, and he will have that bowling ball take the 9 out.
Expert cover for Belmonte, and he fills the box in the 7th. He leads by 23.
That's a really good conversion. He's going to take a re-rack on the left lane. All right, hey, let's take a look at Jason Belmonte versus Pete Weber. Their bowling balls going down the lane in this track tech talk. You're going to see a huge difference. Belmonte on the left, Weber on the right. Not only does Belmonte's ball rotate much faster, it also gets to the pins much faster.
Controlling speed, revolutions, and angle. That's why he's the two-time PBA Player of the Year and the two-time defending champion here. Plus 23, 8th frame.
Oh my. That was almost a massive blower 710. Weber could have used that in his corner. Belmonte, again, tough way to play this oil pattern. It's so flat in the middle. He's got to be really good. Throws his towel down on Pete's equipment. Pete doesn't like that. He keeps picking his towel up and throwing it off of the bowling balls. He went over and told, look out.
Missed 10 pin. By rule, ball's in the gutter, the ball stays in the gutter.
It's an open frame.
Okay.
Tournament director's going to tell Jason not to put his towel on Weber's equipment anymore. Misses the 10 pin. I mean, we've got some craziness going on right here in match number 3.
Super Slam potential versus three-peat potential. And Weber with a re-rack.
I'm not sure Weber is going to strike again on this right lane, and he needs to. He's got to pull the 8th and the 10th frame here. Weber better figure it out on this right lane, and then he's got to make an adjustment on the left lane.
Belmonte opened the door. Weber can double to take the lead. 8th frame. Splits the 8 and the 9.
Well, he can't take the lead, but he can cut it to 1 with a strike here.
Re-rack.
It seems like the more agitated he gets, the better he gets.
The greats can channel it. Weber can channel it.
Well, he figured out that he has to go straighter on that lane. What's he going to do on the left lane? Pete is out of re-racks now. The players are allowed 2 a game. He's done. Big shot coming up right here.
Monumental foundation frame. Seven pin.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Come on, don't miss. You wanted it, you got it.
Well, the greats just find a way to get it done, and this was a really slow rack, and Weber was just hoping for a break to get back in this match, and that's probably the biggest break he's gotten of this tournament.
Belmonte, after the open, his foundation packs the pocket.
That's a great shot, and it was a great react coming off the lanes. Weber knows what Belmonte said. You talked about it. Here's the situation. If Jason Belmonte strikes out in the 10th frame, he will shut out Pete Weber. If he doesn't strike out in the 10th frame, Pete Weber can still win. Max score for Belmonte, 233. Max score for Pete Weber, 232.
And there is the possibility of a tie. 10th frame.
Great shot. You know, Belmonte knows exactly what the lanes are giving him. It's all about execution now. And he prides himself on execution. I think we really miss out on the fact that this player throws it with 2 hands. And he is the back-to-back reigning player of the year. He's a special talent, but he does it a totally unconventional way. We're so used to seeing him with this 2-handed style, I think we lose sight. But the bottom line is, he's figured out what the lanes are giving him. It's all about execution. Can he execute here in the 10th frame?
Pure double for Belmonte.
Those are 3 of the greatest shots I've seen in a while. He needs 1 more just like it. With that power and that rev rate and those revolutions, anything can happen, though, if he's just a little bit off. He needs 9 to force Weber to get all 3 for a tie. A strike, it's all over. Anything less, Weber can get up and strike out in the 10th frame and win.
Weber will make the stepladder. I will face him. I will beat him. You can say it, but you got to do it with the ball. 10th frame.
Come on, come on.
10 pin.
Okay.
Weber needs all 3 to tie. What a great shot by Belmonte. That's something you don't see his bowling ball leave very often as a weak 10. He liked it as soon as it left his hand. I mean, he hit the head pin so hard it was coming back forward. Last shot for Weber on this right lane was really good. He went high flush. I think he's figured out this right lane, but again, it all boils down to the same thing, execution.
The last little thing Belmonte did was go get that towel to kind of remind Weber. tie, a baby split. Jason Belmonte advances. He called his shot, and he's in the title match with an opportunity to go 3 straight at the Masters. Pete Weber denied the Masters title again. Belmonte advances. He will get the amateur A.J. Johnson in the Masters title match. The 2015 USBC Masters stepladder final at a Schwaben bowling alley south of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mike Jackubowski with PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler.
Hey, Mike.
Time for the Geico Championship recap, Randy.
Match number 1, Martin Laursen, just a horrible break in a really tight match. 8th frame, floor 7-10. Weber, well, he needs a double in 8. He gets up, and he gets all 3 in the 10th. And in match number 2 is Pete Weber taking on Mike Devaney. Weber starts with a 3-bagger and then converts the 2-4-7-10 to maintain his lead. Gets up, throws a nice strike there in the 9th frame, and that was pretty much all she wrote. And then in the match, we just saw Jason Belmonte can strike out from the 9th frame on. He gets the first 2 in the 10th. He needs this one to shut out Weber, leaves a 10 pin, setting the stage. Weber needs all 3 to tie. First ball through the nose, game, set, match.
Jason Belmonte advances to the championship match, and Kimberly Pressler is laneside with the amateur.
Thanks, Mike. AJ, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think the first time that you competed on national television, you'd be the #1 seed and going for a major?
It's an absolute dream of mine. It's completely unreal. This week has been unreal, and just going to take it one shot at a time and hope for the best.
Well, how are your nerves right now?
They feel great. I'm bowling for a title, and I only got to bowl 1 game, so hopefully the best happens.
Well, good luck to you today.
Thank
Guys,
you.
back to you.
I think Kimberly made him nervous, but here's the thing, Mike J, is we take a look at the amateurs that have won this event. The most memorable that comes to my mind is Rick Steelsmith, but trying to win for the first time ever on television and it being a major is kind of like trying to eat soup with 1 chopstick. Tough to pull off. But if anybody can do it, I think A.J. Johnson can, and I think he's got the right recipe.
Tournament leader says Jason Belmonte opens on the left lane. Here we go, title match. Ring 10 from the outside angle.
I mean, there's so much angle that he's playing. There's almost like a trough of mud in the middle part of that lane that he has to throw the ball over and get it through. If he gets it too far right, the ball doesn't hit the head pin. And he just makes it look so easy. I think A.J. Johnson's going to go straighter and play where Pete Weber was playing.
Belmonte cleans up the spare.
Folks,
opening shot for Adam A.J. Johnson.
I'm sorry, Mike. Folks, you're in for a real treat. This is a great young man, nice kid. I've known A.J. since he was about 17. But watch this kid throw it. He is a great talent.
Has taken advantage of opportunities USBC provides as a member of Junior Team USA and Team USA. Opening shot. Skates wide. This is the head pin. 1-2-4-8.
And that's just pure nerves right there. He's going to try to go straighter and play where Weber was playing. This kid can hook the whole lane. He's got so much hand, but he's learned how to be versatile. He's learning how to play all angles, and I watched him a lot yesterday, and boy, he played him really good when he was going straight.
Screech to the line. A.J. Johnson just stuck to his game plan, and it's worked all week, Randy. He only tries to do what he can do. And now Kimberly Pressler's with Pete Weber.
Thanks, guys. Pete, you looked a little bit aggravated out there. What was Belma doing that was making you that way?
Well, we asked the players to keep their towels and rosin bags off the ball return, and he kept putting his towel on the ball return, and I don't want the stuff on my bowling ball, you know, because I don't wipe my ball off. So whatever's on his towel is getting on my ball. That's what I got upset about.
Do you feel like that was affecting your play then?
Yeah, I let it get to me, but you know what? I think they should have enforced it. As soon as he said it on the ball return, they should have told him to get it off. So that's my opinion.
This was a heartbreaking loss for you, and thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Guys, back to you.
No bones about it.
Well, I mean, it's one of the reasons why we love Pete. He's honest. You know, he's always been an honest guy, and he'll tell you exactly how it is, and I think you have to respect him for that.
Baby split for Johnson.
Great shot there.
Nice cover. Tournament officials twice instructing Belmonte to remove the towel, and the towel kept reappearing, and we've seen elements of that over the years. Little opportunities for Belmo. All spares here in the title match. Avoids the 4-9, just the 9.
So So are you insinuating there was some intention there?
I'm saying that twice is a coincidence and 3 times is a trend, and we've seen different things happen in qualifying and in match play, and
he just did it again.
And there it is.
You don't think it's habit?
Could be habit, but not when twice instructed to refrain.
And is it a rule or is it just courtesy?
I'll have to check with...
because the players are asked to keep their rosin in the back, on the back table. They're also asked to keep their towels back there, but it's not a rule. And, you know, the players are so conditioned to, you know, just like he just went there, he took a re-rack, he went to the water bottle. I mean, us players are creatures of habit, and we get into these habits. I guarantee he's going to put it right back down on the bar return. There you go, boom. It's just a habit. That's what he does. You know, one of the things that I always hated when I was bowling was when a player actually covered up my bowling ball with his towel to where I had to physically touch it to get it out of the way. I hate that.
Third frame, 10-pin goes down, strike for Belmonte.
That's not a full towel. That's a little chamois. That's a small square chamois, and he's just simply putting it down in the flat part between the bowling balls. Now, if it was you and I going at it and you kept putting your towel on top of my bowling ball, I'd throw your towel over to the next pair. I've seen it done before.
Have you been the offender of that flying towel?
No, Marshall Holman. Marshall Holman once threw his Norm Duke's rosin bag at him.
Johnson yet to hit the pocket. A little closer.
Oh.
Almost a big break, just a 2-pin.
So again, it's a very similar ball reaction for A.J. Johnson as it was for Pete Weber. Both players playing the lanes very similar. You can see the right lane pushes. There's a very slick spot as he trips the 10 out, almost carries the 2. So there's that little wiggle spot on the right lane, and the left lane hooks a little bit. You know, if Belmonte doesn't start striking, he's going to let A.J. Johnson get comfortable. And once A.J. Johnson gets comfortable, we're going to have a match.
Top seed A.J. Johnson, undefeated in match play, defeating the original 900 shooter, Jeremy Sonnenfeld, Chad Nelson, Martin Laursen, Francois Lavoie, and, yes, beat Jason Belmonte by 1 pin to earn the top seed. A little wide again, pays the maximum penalty, 8-10.
We talked about at the top of the show the track record for the seeded players on the show and how the number 2 seed had the highest winning percentage in the history of this event. And there it is right there. No player's ever won from the 4-hole. Belmonte, the only player to win from the 5th seed. And he missed them both.
couple factors at play. First appearance on television, but also what's left on the lane surface.
Well, the lanes have broken down and have become very difficult. Belmonte knows that. He's been in this position before. He has his nerves in check. All of that is going against A.J. Johnson.
High, and a split for Belmonte, 3-4-7.
Yeah, he got soft. Looked like he got soft with that shot, and this might be the one thing that loosens up Johnson. I mean, unless Jason can slide the 3-pin over into the 4-7.
Slide the 3 into the 4, and Belmonte opting for the count. Highly unusual.
Well, I'm not so sure that's that bad of a play. If he tries to slide the 3-pin over into the 4-7 and misses all of them, all of a sudden he's behind in the match. All right, well, he wouldn't have been behind the match, but he would have been tied in the match. They would have had both had 63 in the fourth. There he is.
David Labar, co-proprietor here of the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley, joined by Dave Drew, the co-proprietor here, and Matt Orvis, the general manager. Big thanks to Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley, great hosts of this 2015 USBC Masters, 60 lanes here in Ashwaubenon. As tough as the first 4 shots, Randy, A.J. Johnson is in this match.
He still is. He's still in it. He's going to make ball. He makes a ball change right here. Let's see what happens.
Nice shot for A.J. Johnson. Clears the rack. We talked to him yesterday, Randy. He said the key to his game is waiting for it at the top.
He's got to be real soft with his shoulder and his hand at the top of the swing so he doesn't pull down and grab it. But after his last shot on this left lane, he went over and spoke with Tim Mack, his tour rep, and I guess they had a conversation about changing equipment, and A.J. Johnson went to something stronger. Throwing the Marvel S. He was throwing a rocket.
Chance at double for Johnson. He can take a lead here. 6th frame, championship match at the Masters. Between 3rd and 4th arrow. Wanted it to push 4-pin.
Yep. 2 good shots, though, after he made the ball change, and he's got he's got an idea now of what the lanes are doing and what equipment he thinks he should use. He makes that ball change, and that ball looked pretty good for those 2 shots. Maybe another board or 2 left with his feet on that left lane, and he'll be dialed in.
A.J. bowls collegiately at McKendree University in Lebanon, Illinois. He plans on turning pro after his last ball in college competition. Wants to bowl full-time and travel the world.
Come on. Good shot.
2 good shots in the 5th and 6th for A.J. Johnson.
Did you also mention that he's studying sports management?
I did not.
Well, because I could use a good agent. You know, if the bowling thing doesn't work out, maybe A.J. can represent us.
Wouldn't hurt. I'll ask him. Post round. Belmonte strike up. Leads by 4, can extend his lead. 6th frame in the title match. Mixing gets the 7-pin to fall.
Well, he's going to the air now on that right lane. He's trying to walk around the ball return and then give it some loft. Belmonte will have to finish on this lane. Look at, he slides right in front of the foul light cover. But there's the great pin action from 6th arrow. You know, trying to beat Jason Belmonte when he's lofting 6th arrow is kind of like trying to sing a Journey song on karaoke night. Tough to pull off.
Double working for Belmonte. 7th frame. 7th arrow. Oh, fly.
Why?
3-4-10.
Silly.
Well,
Silly.
I've been doing the telecast for quite some time now, and I'm not sure I've ever seen the 3-4-10 left. Just got to get the ball over into here and then slide that 3-pin over into the 4.
No choice but to shoot at the split this time.
It's close.
Oh, yeah. Converts the split. We've seen this time and again in majors. Not only does he strike, but he pulls off shots like that.
My question now is he second-guessing himself in the fourth frame for not going for the the 3-4-7? What a great shot when he needed it most. He throws a great spare conversion right at A.J. Johnson.
Johnson bowling in just his second Masters event. He finished 82nd here last year, and now he's got a battle on his hands with the two-time defending champions. Doublewood 2-8 light.
Wow. That's the lane that has that extra glob of oil, it seems like, right at the break point. Weber battled through that for about 3 games, and now A.J. Johnson is saying wow because he thought that shot there was perfect. He just saw what Weber saw throughout all of his matches, and there it is once again.
Good cover. Only trails by 13.
He's still in it. A.J. Johnson is a good player there, and you know you can tell this because he finished 17th at 2013 U.S. Open, and you don't make match play at a U.S. Open unless you're a good player. And this A.J. Johnson's a good player. Right now it's all about how much he can learn in a very short period of time and how he can handle his emotions and execute. He's only down 13 pins going up into the 8th frame.
They call him the Shark. He's going to need a cold-blooded shot here, 8th frame. Light explodes the rack. Strike for AJ.
He's a Carcarius. He's a great white.
Thank you, Richard Dreyfuss. And a great shot in a tight spot. The kid's got maple moxie.
That's a great shot right there. And it's nice to be young so you can get down to the foul line that low and use your legs and then just rip through it at the bottom. What a great shot.
Frame 4, Belmonte wants it to hurry. 10 pin.
Yeah, and that's that angle that I was referring to in the last match. He has to send it so far to the right and then get it to rip back that sometimes the angle is just too extreme to carry all 10 in the pit. He's asking for that ball to hurry and hurry up and get to the pocket. Right now, I think A.J. Johnson's got Jason Belmonte thinking about it just a bit.
Belmo missed one of these earlier today.
Yeah, it almost cost him the match against Weber, but he prevailed in the 10th frame. He's going to take a re-rack now. Only 3 strikes for Belmonte in this title match. Only 2 strikes for A.J. Johnson. Belmonte looking to do what has never been done in the history of this tournament, and that is to win back-to-back-to-back Masters titles.
Mike Albee has 3 Masters titles, but not consecutively. Foundation frame. Packs the pocket.
Well, that was a big strike because now, no matter what A.J. Johnson does in the 9th and 10th frame, he cannot shut out Belmonte. If Belmonte didn't strike there, A.J. Johnson could have won this. Question is, can Jason do that on the right lane? I think it's the tougher of the 2 lanes. A.J. Johnson, your tournament leader, got choice of starting lane. He chose to finish on the left lane. Let's see if he can strike on this right lane.
Just 1 strike coming back in the 5th frame. High Greek Church.
You gotta keep your eyes to the right, man.
Well, that was his attempt at trying to jam it.
AJ.
Trying to get the ball a little bit tighter into the pocket. He tried to jam that, go a little bit straighter up the lane, and he just paid max penalty.
Oh, come on!
Man, what a great try.
Almost makes the Greek church. That would have kept things interesting, but right now that's pretty much all she wrote. A.J. Johnson strike out, she 179, and Belmonte wouldn't even need a mark. He would just need good count. It was the right lane of the undoing for Weber. It was the right lane that was the undoing for A.J. Johnson. And Belmonte looks like he's going to three-peat. He will three-peat.
And he'll do it with a victory lap. Move over Dick Hover. Move over Billy Whaley. Mike Albee, you have company. Jason Belmonte has three-peated at the USBC Masters.
Oh boy, who's that bad? Who's that bad?
Well, you heard AJ just say these got bad, and he's right. And, you know, it's just an incredibly difficult position to put a young man in who's never bowled on television before. And then you throw him on a pair of lanes that have really gotten extremely difficult.
And a 10-pin late for good measure. Jason Belmonte will hoist the trophy for the third straight time when we return to Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley at the Masters.
Way to break history.
The USBC Masters is brought to you by AMF, roll this way. By the USBC, a future for the sport. By 900 Global, performance for your game. And by HotelPlanner.com, the best place to book hotel rooms. Best rooms, best rate, guaranteed. Three-peat for Jason Belmonte. It's never been done. You've just witnessed history on the PBA Tour. Final score, 202. A.J. Johnson, 157. Kimberly Pressler is with our champion.
Thanks, Mike. I'm also here with Chad Murphy from the USBC with the trophy presentation.
Jason, congratulations. Three-peat, man. Awesome.
Thank you very much, Chad. Thank you
Way to
so
go.
much.
Congrats.
Oh, very emotional Jason Belmonte right here. You've done it. You are going in the history books as a three-peat. You've won this 3 times. What does this moment feel like for you?
It's indescribable, Kimberly. I'm shaking, I'm ecstatic, I'm nervous, I'm happy, I'm every word that you can possibly describe. And you know, my children and my wife, Kimberly, are in Hugo. They got up early this morning. They're sitting by the TV watching me bowl all the way back home. So this is for you guys. I love you. I miss you so much, and I can't wait to put your names on this trophy with me.
Well, congratulations, Jason Belmonte, on winning the three-peat.
Next week, live on ESPN, the Barbasol PBA Tournament of Champions 50th edition. Be sure to join us from Woodland Bowl in Indianapolis next Sunday on ESPN. Jason Belmonte, 2 hands.
Who wants the ball?
Three-peat. And that ball will be headed to the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame. Pete Weber, shy in his attempt to win his very first Masters. But Belmo, with 2 hands, gets his 3rd straight Masters. For Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler, this is Mike Jackubowski. Make sure to vote for your favorite TOC moment at PBA.com. So long from the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley.